Hello, my name's Grant King. It is March the 2nd, and here in South Florida, and you can probably tell with what I'm wearing, it is spring. That means for beekeepers, it means it is swarm season. The bee colonies that have been kind of slow over the winter have started building out again. There's a nectar flow going now, and we're going to have a really good chance of having some swarms. And with the coming of swarms, it also provides an opportunity for beekeepers to be able to increase the size of their apiary without actually having to purchase or acquire bees. Now what you have down here is a swarm trap. It is basically a box that it's basically an ideal situation for, or an ideal setting for a feral bee colony, a swarm, to come and set up a new home. I experimented last year with several different designs. This one worked the best. They all caught bees, but this one was the easiest as far as being able to then transfer them into a hive. I'll hold it up this way. You can see that the box has a trapezoid pattern. It's actually patterned exactly after my own top bar hives. I use top bar hives. But it also works for a Langstroth hive because I built it to where the bars would be 19 inches, which is exactly the size of a Langstroth hive. So they can be just simply dropped in. The only problem would be is it is deeper than the Langstroth deep. So if you are going to use Langstroth, you might want to put a false bottom in here. So basically what the box consists of, it's a box that's basically a cubic foot. It has a hole down here in the bottom. This hole is 1.5 inches. You see that I've put a screw in it. I'll hold it up closely here. The reason for the screw is because at 1.5 inches, small birds might go in there and decide to build a nest. The screw will keep them from doing that. Now what happens is, when the bees come in, they swarm, they usually attach themselves to a branch, and then the majority of the bees just wait until some scout bees go out and try to go look for a new home. They find this is the ideal home, they go back, tell the other bees, let's come over here, let's build our home here. So they all come back, they move inside, and what they'll do is they'll start building comb up on the top of the lid. Now if you just leave a lid here, you've got a problem when you come into time to actually try to hive them, because all the comb is stuck to the lid and you're going to have to do a cutout. So what I've done is I actually use it with top bars. Now my top bars, basically a top bar is just a 1x material. It is 1 3/8 in diameter, and what I've done is I've cut it to where there is a tongue right on the middle here like that. Okay? Then what you do with that tongue is, the idea is that the bees are going to draw their comb out on it. Now I say idea because, as Winnie the Pooh used to say in the old Disney movie, you can never tell with bees. They might decide to cross-comb it. But the idea is you have a tongue here like this, and you take a little piece of beeswax and just rub it. Rub it on there, just on the tongue, and that'll kind of draw the bees toward it. Now if you don't have beeswax, it's still going to catch bees. They may be more likely to cross-comb. They may try to build the comb right on the groove right there. And then what you do is you just set it inside. And you take the next one, rub it on good. Now, you don't even have to do that much. If you rub it hard, it makes a really nice furniture finish, actually. Now this one holds 6 bars. Standard top bar hives should hold somewhere between 25 and 30, which would obviously mean at 6 bars, they're going to outgrow this very quickly. If you leave them in here, they'll probably swarm within a couple months. So let's get a little bit more wax on it. Now, actually, I've just overstepped one thing here, because we're going to need one more thing. So I'm going to have to take these out again. This is completely unrehearsed, uncut. You get to see it. If a bee comes and stings me, you're going to see me jump. Okay, but you can see how it actually makes the lid like that. But now we have to have now we got to have one more thing. We have to have something to give the bees the idea that they want to move in here, and that is we have to put some bait inside. Now, what they're really looking for is something that smells like the queen's pheromone. And you can actually purchase queen pheromone from beekeeping supply places. It's rather expensive, but there's something else that works just as well, and that is right here. Lemongrass oil. You can purchase this at a local health food store in the aromatherapy section. This little bottle set me back about $6, and I used it for about 7 or 8 swarms last year, and I still got enough probably for another 2 or 3. So what I do is I take a couple of Q-tips. Where'd it go? I take 2 Q-tips, and I get the ends nice and soaked. By the way, this stuff is fairly strong. It smells like furniture polish. The fact is, I think some people have actually tried furniture polish. That's actually toxic. Okay, so I got 2 Q-tips, nicely saturated. Then, let's see if I can do this. I can do it with one hand. I take a little snack-sized Ziploc bag. I put the 2 Q-tips inside, and I seal it about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way closed, leaving just a little bit open at the end. That allows for the aroma to get into the actual chamber of the box, but also keeps it closed enough to where it won't dry out. And I put it down in the bottom at the back. Then, cut the top bars in. He just went by. He just went by. That means it's not a swarm bee. If it was in a swarm, she would probably have come and checked it out. If they are just forager bees, they are not interested. Okay, you see how the top bars are now in there, and now this has become the lid. The bees will build off the lid. Then we take the actual lid, we put it on, and let me make sure I line it up. Okay, and screw the lid down. Don't nail the lid. The reason not for nailing the lid is you're going to eventually have to take this lid off. And if you nailed it, you're going to have to bang on it, use a pry bar. That's going to make the bees mad. Now you've got a real problem. That was fairly quiet. You'll be able to just undo the lid and take it off. Okay, then I do one more thing. Take one more drop of lemongrass oil and put it right on the opening, or right in front. Come on. Let's see. I'm sure there's a good view of the back of my head. Come on. Now, where are you? There we go. Okay. All right. Then, where to locate it? Generally, locating the swarm trap near a source of water, up against a wooded area, out into a clearing, or if there's like a lone tree off by itself. Bees use things like a lone tree as a landmark, so that might be a good spot too. That's going to be more art than science, but really the best thing to do is if you're in an area where you know you have swarm activity, and by that I mean if maybe one of your neighbors has had to have bees removed in the last year, you know that you're in an area where there are swarms. So that's pretty much more art than science. Generally, if there is swarm activity in your area, this has become probably the most ideal place for a swarm to set up a new hive. So I'm going to turn the camera because we're going to actually go ahead and install the hive now. Okay, you see that 2x4 sticking out of the ground? You see we have a hanger piece on the back here where there's a hole. Let me do this over here. You see the hole right there. It's going to hang over a nail, and then I have another screw up there that I'll actually screw in to set it. So you're going to get a good view of my back here. Okay, and that's basically it. Now it's just a waiting game. If I haven't got a swarm in there within 2 weeks, I'll go back and I'll put one more drop of oil right on the opening, like the very last thing I did, and that'll keep the scent kind of fresh. So other than that, it's basically just a waiting game and wait for a swarm to come. So hope this has been helpful, hope it's been interesting, and happy swarm hunting.